scripts for the next 10 years, and we'll see how that ages. But right now, I want to know how next year is going to age. Who has the better chance for next year's Super Bowl out of the two teams that were in the Super Bowl? I'm going to take first swing at this. I'm going to go with the Eagles, okay? They got a lot of possible free agents, right? So it makes me a little nervous just to name a few. Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Jason Hargrave, Jason Kelce, my man, James Bradbury. I don't know if you're going to be on a roster next year, James. I hope you are because he had a great year. Andre Dillard, who was a big part of that team, and Ndamukong Suh, who they signed and was all up in all kinds of backfields as soon as they signed him because the guy's just a stud. Zach Pascal, who was an important fourth receiver out there when they went in big sets. And then you got all the running backs. You got Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, and then another safety standout, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
That's a lot of players.
A lot of free agents. But let me listen to this. They also are in the top 7 of salary cap going into the free agency. So they'll weigh
2 first-rounders.
And yes, exactly. And they'll weigh their options, right? Jalen Hurts is up for a contract extension. I say just pay him now.
Yeah.
Pay him now. You have to pay him top dollar.
It's going to get inflated.
Pay him now before Lamar Jackson's deal comes out, before Joe Burrow's deal comes out, before Justin Herbert's deal comes out. I mean, pay him now.
Yeah.
Pay him this week. As I post this show up on our YouTube channel that you should be subscribed to, pay him before I even do that. All right? That's what needs to happen. Pay Jalen Hurts his money right now. You know he's worth it. So start with the free agency of signing Jalen Hurts. Then worry about the court. Call Jason Kelce. Say, hey, man, come back. Screw your brother. Don't let him be the last guy to beat him. I think you could talk Jason Kelce into coming back, which will be huge. Then the rest of that offensive line, all still intact. So you're good to go right now.
Yeah.
You go right back into next year with the best offensive line again, and you got enough pieces on defense already in place with Darius Slay and Hassan Reddick still under a good team-friendly contract. And then you just figure out, do you want to pay Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? Do you want to use some of these draft picks? Because they don't have a lot of draft picks, but they have 4 in the top 100. Yeah. You can do a lot of damage when you're a good team and you add 4 top 100 prospects correctly. And the Eagles have proved that they know how to draft correctly, especially in those first and second rounds. They haven't missed too many. So I think that's enough for them to reload and come after it. Then, who's their competition in the NFC? God forbid if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, who will stop the Eagles? The Cowboys are in shambles. I don't want to even hear about the Cowboys.
Cowboys are there.
Yeah, Danny Dimes
Niners
and
are still a
Saquon
good
Barkley.
team.
The Niners, who's going to be their quarterback?
We'll find out who's healthy when they actually play.
Who's going to be their quarterback? I don't want to hear about the Niners. There's always
Rams
a day late, dollar short.
Revamped season.
Rams with Baker Mayfield leading the way? No way. Get out of here with that. I'm just saying.
Give much yet.
There's no viable option in the NFC to say they're going to dethrone the Eagles when they bring back the likes of Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, their tight ends. All those guys I didn't even mention. I named a lot of free agents, but none of those guys.
Yeah.
So they're ready to go. They're in the more favorable conference. Pat Mahomes, everybody's going to be gunning for him, including Joe Shiesty, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. My boy Tua says his brain is ready to rock and roll, and he's going to be on point. I think my Dolphins are going to be legit contenders. And then when you talk about the Jets, if they get the likes of Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be better.
Yeah.
So, AFC is going to be freaking tough, man. It's going to be like the Western Conference of the NBA. So I'm going Eagles.
Fair enough. I'm going with any team that has Patrick Mahomes on it. That's the easiest answer to give
me a break.
You. So that's my first stance. But honestly, we don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl yet next year because look at the last handful of champs. And I'm going to include Philly on this. Philly was a good team. 7th seed last year, got knocked out in the wild card round. They added a superstar wide receiver, and they developed Devontae Smith into great players alongside A.J. Brown. So Philly really boosted up. You go back to last year, Rams did not have Matt Stafford at this time in late February, and that's what led them to the Super Bowl. Go back to the previous year. Bucks did not have Tom Brady around this time 2 years ago, which led them to that Super Bowl. So I think the offseason now in the NFL really is so much more important than it was in years past. Whatever trades or free agency and or draft picks that change your roster, we could see a team like the Chargers I'll throw out there. If things fall right, why can't they win it? Why can't the Bengals win it? But if we're looking at just these two teams in the Super Bowl, I do think they're probably still the top 1 to 2 seeds in their conference. Give me the team that has Patrick Mahomes. I've been consistent with this thought and argument all year long, and I will be consistent throughout his career because he has shown up and he has showed us what it is all about to be a successful quarterback in the NFL.
If there's a rematch next year, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, you're going to ride with Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, I rode with Jalen Hurts in this past one. I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, so I was wrong in that regard. But I give myself a little loophole, a little wiggle room of, but if Patrick Mahomes shows up and is dominant and is the best player on the field, he's a heavyweight champ. So until you beat him, he's still the champ.
We'll see.